Hey everyone, welcome to episode 19 of That Gives Me Anxiety. I don't know why I tried to make that sound like ASMR. Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 19 of That Gives Me Anxiety. You're either, it's not doing the ASMR thing for you, it's just making you want to crash your car. No, a little bit more subdued today. Feeling tired. Man, Jamie and I had a crazy week. My beer league hockey team had 3 games in 5 nights. I'm exhausted. I felt like a kid again. Except with the body of an adult man that pulls muscles walking to the mailbox. No, a lot of fun though. We also went to go see Eliza Schlesinger. I don't know why it's slurred that. Schlesinger. Really fun show. First time seeing stand-up live since before the pandemic, which is great. Jamie and I both really like stand-up. But it was weird. The people sitting around us, it was like it was their first time out in maybe years. Like, for example, a woman behind us, every time Eliza would make a joke, she would like lean over to whoever the person was next to her and say, "She's right, my bra is disgusting." Like, Eliza's making the jokes. You don't have to add your 2 cents or make it about you in the audience. Just be quiet and enjoy it. There's a lot of beer being spilled. People were talking. There was almost like a fight between these 2 50-year-old women. It was insane. Just a circus. You know, we've been excited to get everybody back together. But sometimes that's just what happens, remember? We miss people, but people also kind of suck. Man, I can't believe it's also, we're almost at a full year here in South Carolina. Charleston's awesome. It really is. But yeah, it feels like we just moved from Brooklyn still. But I guess it does take a while to get used to a new area and make friends and set up a new routine and yada, yada, yada. It's also St. Patrick's Day. I mean, it's not for me. You know, I'm recording on Monday the 14th. But if you're listening to this, that means it's St. Patty's Day. Get yourself a Guinness, a little whiskey, corned beef and cabbage, some potatoes, and watch some, I don't know, Conan O'Brien. Really stoke up that Irish culture with Conan O'Brien. I've got a great episode lined up, as always, and I always mean it. Trying something a little bit new, different format that'll probably come up from time to time. Instead of today's topic being something that causes anxiety, it's a job that could cause anxiety. And today's episode is about modeling. I interviewed model Amy. Thank you so much to Amy for her time and opening up about her experiences and her anxiety in a job that's unusual, right? Like people are just commenting on your body. That could be hard to overcome. Like, I remember my grandma taking a dig at my weight when I was a kid. I remember 20 years later. So it can be difficult to handle those things. So certainly an interesting interview, and thanks again to Amy. But before we get there, I just want to remind you that if you're liking the show, please remember to rate and review it on whatever platform you're on. Check the show out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, or YouTube if you want to do more than one. And also, if you're enjoying the show and you want to support it and support me making this, there's the Buy Me a Coffee link. It's in on all the social media and in the description wherever you're listening. Yeah, all contributions are incredibly appreciated and super helpful. So yeah, if you're liking the show, feel free to buy me a coffee. Well, all right, let's get into the interview. Joining me now on the podcast is model, future fashion mogul, and voiceover artist Amy Coffland. Amy, how are you?
I'm wonderful. Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. It's so, to explain to the listeners, it's 10:10 here on the East Coast, but for Amy on the West Coast, it's 7:10, and I'm impressed. You're up and at 'em. You're ready to go. Are you? Would you describe yourself as a morning person?
I am very much a morning person. Sometimes people say, like, when the sun is up, I'm up. So when the sky is awake, I'm awake. When there's any source of light outside, most likely I'm up.
That's a good trait, I think. I mean, does that mean in the winter when the sun goes down at like 5 o'clock, are you particularly sleepy right there?
I tend to get a little sleepy, and winter's pretty cozy,
Sure
so
is. Yeah,
I like to
absolutely.
sleep in the winter.
It's a nature's way of encouraging you to toss those
Yeah.
sweatpants on and go to bed.
Get more sleep.
Yeah. Well,
I
that's certainly
very
something
much
I'll try and do.
suggest it.
Yeah. Well, we connected over social media, and this is a bit of a different format for That Gives Me Anxiety. Usually it's something that really anyone can experience that gives them anxiety. But this time we're going to do jobs that give me anxiety. And you work as a model, which has caused you anxiety. So I'm interested to hear.
100%.
Yeah. Well, I'm interested to hear, and I'm also a little bit nervous for what I'm about to hear. I'm sure there are a job where people are commenting on your appearance must create an insane amount of anxiety. So, what made you want to get into modeling in the first place?
Well, one of my best friends, Daniel, he actually kind of discovered me when we were at this club and I was kind of running around on stage. He was like, I want you to walk for me for SAC Fashion Week. And I was like, I don't know anything about fashion, but it kind of went from there. After SAC Fashion Week, I walked at like the Eddie Murphy Mansion, and it was kind of like, oh, I love this. Like,
Yeah,
and I need to like keep going and like see where it takes me. So I hope that
that's
answered the first question.
yeah, that's so interesting. Where it's like just getting discovered while you're out potentially just having
Yeah.
fun. What makes a good model? I guess you're specifically talking about a runway model. Yeah, what makes a person good at that?
One thing is mentality,
Mm,
what you want to do with it. It's kind of a cliche, but it's what you make it. I want to say confidence,
hmm
and because someone once said if your mind is confident, then like the rest will follow.
hmm
And also having a lot of courage and being open to criticism and never comparing yourself to others, because that is a killer of confidence.
Right.
What I do is I just focus on myself, because I am so quick to compare myself to others that it destroys me. So because I'm only 5'4" in this model world, so I'm just constantly reminded that I'm 5'4".
hmm Yeah. Well, I mean, kudos for you being able to do that. Just for everyone in the Instagram world that we live in, we're constantly comparing ourselves to our own mental detriment.
Mm-hmm.
Were you always able to do that, or is that something
I
that you?
was not.
Okay.
In the beginning, in like 2016 to I'd say like 2018, I had a lot of anxiety because I was bigger. People in comments would be like, "Oh, you have a pregnant model." And I was just like, "With this again."
Oh, wow.
Because yeah, I was, regular plus size model, and it was great and it was empowering. But then that one comment will like destroy your world. So
Mm,
people they don't know you. They're just going off of like the outside appearance. So you can't be mad. It's just a lot of anxiety when the P word, the pregnant word comes up.
mm.
So being short and bigger was very challenging, but forcing yourself to look at yourself in the camera, in the picture, it's a good way to learn, oh, is this how I want to stay? Or do I want to change and like get healthier? Fast forward to now, I'm really thankful for that anxiety
Mm.
because it like allowed me to change.
Well, that's impressive to be able to channel that into a negative or into a positive life change. I do have a small frame of reference. So I've been a journalist for 10 years, longer than that. Who can count at this point? And so, just appearing on camera in YouTube videos or TV or whatever, the comments that people make really, really do hurt sometimes, especially when you just see people jumping on, right? Like one that I normally get is that my eyes were too close together,
What?
which doesn't it hurt me then. It doesn't hurt me now. So I do understand the growth.
Yeah.
But like when you first see that, and especially if I made a video that took such a long time to make and there was like good information in there, and then it just boiled down to like an attack in the comment section.
Mm-hmm. It's a projection of how people feel in themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really forced me to look at why people are saying things and to not take it so seriously. I used to project when I was first starting off modeling because I get so insecure with the kind of the industry standard or like the old standard of super tall and like slim.
Mm-hmm.
So I get really insecure. So I had to get rid of that. Every local model is one of my friends now. And like I can't project onto them, what I'm feeling, because that's just anxiety.
That's great. And if you see that in yourself, I guess being empathetic, they're going through the same mental struggle that you are. And you've created a support group of models all trying to work together. That's great.
We have to stick together because we're going to people's houses and taking photos. So that's high anxiety.
So let me get this straight. In today's day and age, you're supposed to be drinking a ton of water, doing yoga, making sure you and your whole family is happy, strike a good work-life balance, exercise, read books, watch movies, eat healthy meals, be a big part of your community, and get 8 hours of sleep. It's unrealistic. It's too much. Well, that's why there's Instacart to take a little bit off your plate or help put a little bit on your plate. I'm so sorry. Using Instacart, you search for all your favorite foods and items that you need from the grocery store, fresh produce, all your favorites, everything you want, and they deliver it to you. They go to the store and do your shopping for you. Just remove it from your to-do list, just with a few clicks. And you'll have your items delivered to your door in as fast as an hour. It's pretty quick. And through the link in the episode description, they're offering free delivery on your first order over $35. But you got to make sure you click the link in the description. That tells Instacart that this show sent you and it helps support the show. And you can also take advantage of the free delivery. So yeah, be nice to yourself. Give Instacart a shot.
Once my friend Erica, I helped her out with styling a shoot because she didn't know the photographer. She was like, if you weren't here, I don't know what I would do. I'm like, I got you. I'm here for you. Are most of the shoots at people's, I'm curious what the process is. I want to talk about what it's like to audition and oh gosh, if that, yeah. So why don't we start there? Why don't we start with the audition process? What does that look like? Is there a typical audition? Yeah, I used to call it like a go-see. That's like an America's Next Top Model term that I learned. I don't go on go-sees anymore. It's more of an at-home audition. But before the pandemic, I would go like on a train from Roseville to San Francisco and like take a bus from the train. And I loved every second of it because it was like, that's sort of the magic, is like, you're going to the city to go to an audition. City, I'm going to become a star. Yeah. I was living my own fantasy. Like I love traveling on trains, first of all. So how very like, Joe Biden of you. Right. One of the last go-sees I went on was, I think it was for like a bra company, but usually you go in and you're prepared with your headshot, nervous sweat, like trying not to sweat through your clothes. You have your model go-to bag with the MDT logo on it. So when they see it, they're like, oh, you're represented. You're cool, you're trustworthy, you're reliable. Before the interview, before the go-see, I should say, I experienced the highest level of anxiety because you don't know what's going to happen. And I have a really active imagination. So I'm just preparing myself for like you're imagining what someone may say to you, or you're nervous that you're going to be sweaty. So in this example, you're describing a shoot that will end up being for a bra. Are you asked to immediately just walk out in front of strangers in a bra? It has happened. One particular day, I was very sweaty because, you're walking up and down San Francisco streets in the sun. And they gave me a pair of heels, underwear. One piece was like a thong. So I just walk out and I'm supposed to take photos and I can't see the person taking the photos. So it's just like, go, you're on.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so awkward. I mean, that makes it so much more. I was going to ask about what's the space like that's typically created. Is it a lot of times with anxiety, explaining what's going to happen and what it might feel like eliminates a lot of it, or at least eliminates the imagination aspect, just like a man behind or a woman or whoever behind a curtain.
It was a woman for sure.
Okay.
It was not an unsafe space. It was just kind of a little turbulent because I didn't know what to expect. But it was really nice and liberating just posing in heels and underwear.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of like throwing you to the lions, I should say. I'm really thankful for that experience. Some go-sees aren't as stressful. It's just like you go and talk in front of a camera, or you go and like try on some denim pants and they take a picture. They don't even look at your headshot and then you leave.
Oh,
it's
wow.
Very short because time is money in this industry. So
and they got to see as many people as they possibly can because it's just a numbers game, I guess.
Yeah, it's marketing. I understand they have to pick someone who's going to get as much reach in the demographic they're going for. So I do not take it personally. I'm just having a good time trying to like experience as much as I can. In the modern audition world today, it's all self-tape. That's why I really enjoy both voiceover auditions because I don't have to set anything up. I'm really thankful for non-audition jobs where I'm just booked and I go.
Yeah, that sounds so much easier. Yeah. Look who we got here. It's our friends at My Software Tutor. Can Excel be my friend? Many people have wondered this for years. The answer is yes, it can. Excel doesn't have to be like the friend that your mom makes you hang out with in elementary school. It's weird. It's always stuff with boogers, right? What's wrong? What's up? Why is that kid always eating boogers? Their house always had the best snacks too. And there he is. Boogers. Well, Excel doesn't have to be like that weird kid. Unless you were that weird kid. Were you? Be honest. You know. I'm not actually asking. I can't hear your response, but you know. And it's okay if you were. Just take it easy with the boogers. Just talking about boogers to get ad read. Don't worry. They didn't write that part. That was an improvisation. My Software Tutor offers 3 levels of real-time Zoom-based courses with a live instructor. They deliver practical, functional business skills in a friendly and supportive environment. It can be daunting, right? You need that supporting environment to learn Excel. There's no stupid questions. It could be really difficult. And as we know, when we talk about it on this podcast all the time, it could be really daunting to learn something new and put yourself out there. So think of this as like a kindergarten for learning something new and helping your job prospects. Or be better at the job you already have. Get that raise, get that whatever, take pictures of it for Instagram. Yeah, that'll be cool. Keeping it as vague as possible so that you can input your own. Just making a mad lib of your own desires. These courses will increase your marketability, whether you're an employee, job seeker, consultant, or contractor. Register at mysoftwaretutor.com and use the promo code POD20 to save 20% off all registrations. Thank you so much to My Software Tutor. Yeah, guys, take advantage of that 20% off and confidently list Excel on your resume. When you are auditioning, let's say you're going to go see or there, however it's being done now, is there any, I imagine there could be executives discussing, well, I don't like this about her, or I like this. Has that ever happened in your career?
Well, you never really hear feedback unless your agent noticed something you did completely wrong and is saving your butt by giving you feedback. And I'm so grateful for anything that I get back. Once I did go to a model casting in Oakland, And they set it up kind of like there's 3 judges. And I was a little bigger at the time in a swimsuit. And I walked up there so confidently. And they were like, "Ooh, your confidence, the way you're walking." It was great. I didn't get booked, but
Well, that's good. I mean, from an outside perspective, what you were saying before about confidence it feels like that's a huge part of getting a
it
job like
is.
that.
It's the fake it till you make it. If you're confident, everyone else is going to have fun because they're like, "Oh, she's cool."
Well, especially, I mean, you nailed it calling it marketing. I mean, that reframes it for me there, where it's like, if someone is in a bra or a swimsuit, you don't want them to be like, "Ah, man, this doesn't make me feel confident about my body,"
Yep.
right? Like, who's buying that article
Mm-hmm.
of clothing? They want to see, oh, I can be this
Right.
person. I can get this vibe.
Yeah. Also, something is what I need to remind myself every time is I need to represent for the women who don't feel like they have a space in this
Mm,
market.
hmm.
So I have to like catch myself before I'm like, "Oh, I need to go on a diet or lose weight." I'm like, "No, I need to stay where I am so that representation is still there." If I'm super happy in this dress, then like someone else is going to feel enlightened and empowered to wear whatever they want to wear. If they're extra curvy or there's someone who's got like broad shoulders and big hips like I do. So I think that's very important.
Yeah, of course. Well, that's an important part of our discussion, I think, being a plus size model. So you're saying you feel like you're taking this on representing other people. That must add a lot of weight to your shoulders. What is that like?
I like to say full figured or curvy
Okay.
because there's such
My
a
apologies.
huge, oh no, not at all. There's just a huge spectrum of people who prefer to use plus size. And then
Mhm.
someone who is actually of that size looking at me and then comparing themselves and saying, if she's plus size, then like, what am I? So I definitely used to be plus size, but I think I've like thinned down a little bit to like the curvy model. So it's just there's a lot of body types and it's just important to be really respectful because I know the anxiety behind putting yourself out there and being confident is one of the hardest things. Projecting that confidence is very important when you're a full figured model. There's, I want to say, like a storm of anxiety that a lot of models have to like jump over and then fake confidence. So,
Hmm. Well, and imagine, especially for articles of clothing that are a bit more revealing, right? Like a swimsuit or something. I've read it. It's not my experience, but I've read how concerning or how difficult it can be for someone who's a bit curvier to buy a swimsuit and feel good about themselves. And so
mhm.
that change and seeing you confident in such a shoot should, or not should, I mean, could help them
Oh, yeah.
be happier.
A while ago, one designer was like, "Oh, I have a vintage 2-piece bathing suit." And I was like, "Oh no, I can't wear this." Because I had to like, it was like a live model mannequin
Hmm.
thing where we're posing in a storefront. So I was like, I don't think this is super flattering for the current situation because the bikini bottom was just a little too small and the anxiety peaked. I
Hmm.
was just like, no, not not gonna happen. So thankfully there was a one phase which I rocked. So yeah, swimsuits. People were applauding. I walked wearing a dress and then I walked for someone else wearing this gold sequin dress that I rocked and I got applause and it was great. But I think it just has to do with how you're feeling currently, how you have to combat in the moment.
Yeah, that it sounds like there's so much going on, such a mental struggle, and I definitely want to get to that. But I'm also curious. So you're describing modeling in storefronts and people's houses. What are those spaces like, and what's going through your head for jobs like that?
Sometimes it's just for fun, just to like update my portfolio. I'll go to one of my friends' houses. It's super nice. It's more of like an artistic expression overall. I have control over my makeup, and I made a dress and like I can model it, and it's celebrating the dress that I made. And I shoot with women right now mostly. So it's like a sisterhood with a print shoot like I did for Laxton Ravello in San Rafael. That was also very fun because we were coming out of lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, oh my gosh, I get to see people again. Like I get to work with them and actually talk industry. So that was great. Everyone was very respectful of the 6-foot rule and sanitizing everything. And
Mm-hmm.
I got to model cardigans and sweaters, and they were so comfy. So
That's great.
I couldn't ask for anything more.
Yeah. Push back on this question if it's not something you feel comfortable.
Okay.
With modeling, there are certainly horror stories. Have you ever felt uncomfortable on set?
Yeah, it is an industry where people get excited to be around good-looking people, and
Mm-hmm.
there have been guys who get really excited and catcall or get too comfortable or say, "Let me see your Instagram. Oh, this should be your look because of the energy." And I'd say like try to groom you to, I don't know their intention really, but it's very awkward.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important to talk to your friends and like anyone who's going through it, because it's a very awkward situation. It didn't happen to me, but and you don't want to like overstep your boundaries and tell on somebody, especially if it didn't happen to you. But I just say to yourself and like, don't talk to anybody at a shoot. Man, this is a heavy question, but it does give me a lot of anxiety when I feel slightly targeted by somebody on a shoot.
Mm-hmm.
There's flirting, and then there's you can feel the energy coming off of the person if they have a negative intention. You get really good at honing in. So you just have to stay in your personal space and remain professional, do the job and get out of there is all I have to say.
Yeah, I've definitely, I do have another time where I can connect with you on this. I used to, well, I don't want to give it away too much
Okay.
but I have felt targeted on a film set like
Mm-hmm.
that. And you do anything to get away, but you're also, I mean, at least in my case, I was young and trying to like use that as a space to network and get more work. But in the end, it doesn't seem worth it. And you just,
Yeah.
I don't know, it makes you feel really lousy.
Yeah. And you walk away from that a little angry, but you learn. It's definitely a learning experience. I've been in a room where everyone's in a robe, and then there's an older gentleman just casually brushing up against my shoulder. And I'm like, oh, it happens when you least expect it. When you're like really excited about something, you
Oh,
can't really
sorry.
like do anything about it. You're kind of processing it in your brain, doing the math.
Mm-hmm. In my case, it was in front of everyone, and it was just
Oh
like no
no,
one stopped it. you know?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
A lot of men for sure still get harassed, and I think that needs to be talked about more. Everyone's got feelings. I
Mm-hmm.
think everyone's probably been a target before, and it's
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah. We're all just trying to do a job and trying to be
Hmm.
creative,
And it's
unfortunately.
hard when you try to give everyone the benefit of the doubt.
Mm-hmm. Or laugh it off as like a joke,
Yeah,
but it's not. It's not
it's
really.
not. And you want to
Yeah.
like go home and smash glass,
Mm-hmm.
that's have your own little private smash room.
Break room or smash room.
Yeah,
Yeah. Have
break.
you ever done that?
Oh yeah, I just did that. I smashed an old whiskey bottle by throwing a wrench at it, and it was great.
That's incredible.
I recorded it to music.
Did you? You recorded to music? That's
I
very
did.
punk rock.
It's just something about the sound and letting yourself go. I was shaking afterwards. Oh my gosh. It was amazing.
That's
So
great. Well, that's a perfect segue into, so we're talking about people in the comment section, people on
Mhm.
interviews or on job sites potentially behaving in inappropriate or awkward ways. Sweat. I mean, I'm a sweaty person. I definitely connect with you on that.
Me too.
Yeah, let's talk about no. So there's all these things that are going on, creating a tempest seemingly in your mind. How do you, in the moment, right? Like in the moment with all this swirling around, how do you handle your anxiety? I'd imagine there would be something different for when you're not working, and we'll get to that. But in the moment, what have you learned helps you?
Well, meditation. It
Mm,
sounds extremely cliche, but just having a mantra to repeat over and over in the moment so you have something positive to grasp onto, like a clear headspace,
hmm
is really important because you can just go to that space and kind of zen out, do the
mm,
modeling. Because sometimes I get like a panic attack right before I walk on a set. You just have to keep practicing your little on the moment meditation, or sometimes caffeine helps because it speeds your brain up. Well, it speeds everything up to the pace of your mind.
hmm
So you're like, oh yeah, I'm in the zone. I'm not anxious. I'm not nervous. Let's do this.
It's like faking dopamine in there,
Oh yeah.
just, just giving
It's
you a
like
jolt.
it's the new healthy liquid courage, I like to
Mm,
say. Also, just being very friendly with people appropriately, just making friends with everyone and just bringing the mood up will make a huge difference because it'll feel like a party and not just, oh, I'm here to do a print shoot begrudgingly. The energy is really just 100%.
I love that because so I mean, we create these, or these spaces are created, right? Where in this case, it's modeling, but it could be someone else doing any other job where you're meeting people for the first time, and that's really awkward and concerning. But realizing that everyone else is probably feeling similar to you, so
Oh,
by
yeah.
being friendly, you're setting the tone for the energy in the room,
Mm-hmm.
and not everyone's
Plus, you're the
capable of that.
focus. You're going to be in the picture. If you're upset, the picture's going to be upset. The photographer's going to be upset. The designer who's taking this time to create an image, their store is going to be upset. If you're shining, the photo's going to shine. They're going
Mhm.
to be really happy. You'll be friends. It's all up from there. So,
And meditation is definitely something I think you said practicing. I think that's something that you practice outside of, right? Like
mhm,
other anxiety deregulation techniques.
yes.
Meditation is a great one. I don't think it's cliche because I
Yeah.
think a lot more people could take advantage of it. So I'll use the word installing as if it's like an app on your phone. Do you make time daily or weekly? How did you work on bringing that into your routine?
Honestly, I kind of heard about it, the transcendental meditation, because I read a book about Andy Kaufman
Hmm
and he meditated like a professional. He wanted to meditate, go take classes. He wanted to be able to levitate. Like,
Mm.
so I learned a lot and about meditation through the books about him and some other friends as well. So I usually use it when I'm feeling anxiety because it's just cutting through the anxiety and going straight to like, you're fine.
Yeah.
You're good. Clear your headspace. These are just emotions. Sweep them away. This too shall pass. Just have to take a moment, even if it's in your hammock every morning for like 5 to 20 minutes.
hmm
Refresh yourself like your brain's a computer.
That's great. All right, you've got an event coming up. You know you got to send a card. So you get the card. It's looking good. You know you chose a good one. You grab a pen. You grab a beverage of some kind, alcoholic, ginger ale. I've been big on the ginger ale lately. Even the diet. Am I just old? Maybe I'm just old. But you get all that. You sit down, and then your mind is blank. You don't know what to say. It can be daunting. There's a lot of pressure. You gotta fit it in a certain area and gotta look nice. Go easy on yourself. There's someone here to help you. Introducing the Cardist Studio. With so many birthdays and occasions, there's no time to shop for cards, write the cards, and buy the stamps. It's too many steps. So many chances for anxiety. Now you can do it all right where you sit. That's the best. That's the best. Because the Cardist Studio does it for you. They write it down for you. Introducing a writing specialist for the message inside your greeting cards. Don't get those canned responses. Have someone write something truly heartfelt. By the way, this is my friend Mary Alice who runs this company. She's very good. She sent me one of these. Whew. I know I said that in a joking tone, but I mean it. It was very thoughtful. She sent me one after my grandfather passed away. That means a lot. I still have the card. I mean, that shows you all you need to know. All right, here's how it works. All you do is pick the card and tell why you're sending it. No more errands. No more anxiety. For a message from your heart, but not your hands. It's okay. You still mean it. Sit back and just enjoy your relationships. Wouldn't that be nice? TheCardistStudio.com. Thoughtful, just got easy. And you can use the promo code AnxietyPod for 10% off all orders. All right, friends, get out there and send those greeting cards from the Cardist Studio. It is interesting that you are looking towards Andy Kaufman. For people who don't know Andy Kaufman, comedian, he was in the show Taxi, and he's a comedian, but also a provocateur. He liked to push buttons. He had his alter ego. What was his alter ego's name?
Lodka, and then there's Tony Clifton.
Tony Clifton is the one I was thinking.
I have a lot of friends who are in love with Andy Kaufman, so I have to speak highly of him, or else they're gonna be after me. But
he's an interesting person for the purposes that being a model, where it's like he's putting himself in these extremely awkward situations, and so I think a lot of people wondered how he handled that mentally. So it was just very interesting to hear him, but it sounds like your friend group all kind of are into what he was doing.
The level of anxiety you have to deal with thinking about what other people think of you, that amount of stress that he had to deal with, I don't blame him for like meditating every chance he got. If he had a room that he was staying in, like it had to be deadly quiet for him to meditate, because it was staunch rules. Has to take the time to meditate, and I think it's a good thing to practice for like any job, I think. So
absolutely, yeah. Do you find, a lot of times I can be very extroverted, and I love interviewing people, I love talking to people, but probably after this interview I'm gonna be very quiet and go sit by myself. It's a battery that needs to be recharged. Is that something that you need to do?
Yes, this is huge. Every time I do a shoot, every time I give something of my soul to a camera, anything having to do with modeling, afterwards, I am so drained. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to do anything. I don't even want to drive home. I just want to like get into bed, eat a whole bunch of Chinese food, and just tune out, because it feels like someone took half of your body away, because you just gave everything. Like you're moving dynamically, and your back hurts, your neck hurts, your legs hurt, even like your ankles. And you're just like, why do I hurt? I was just standing there, but you're like twisting your body everywhere, and you're putting yourself through like the ringer.
Yeah.
So it's always a very calm ride home. Like just get home. Just get home. I'm tired.
The Chinese food in bed is waiting. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I have to drive back from San Francisco to Sacramento. And it's an adventure, to say the least.
But good for you for recognizing that you need that time, and you're able to give yourself that time. I feel like a lot of people do expect that they have to be on at all times, and that just seems unrealistic.
Yeah, I used to think that I had to be on and sort of acting like the model. They're expecting this of me, but now I'm just like, you don't have to do everything. It was your own internal monologue telling you, now that you've learned, you have your own little path, that okay, I'm gonna switch to people who ask me how I became a model. It's a very hard question, because everyone's so unique, and I'm like, I don't really know how to answer that, except go out and find yourself an agent, be in front of the camera. It's not 100% fun. It's sort of like carving out your own path with a toothpick when you're trying to carve some stone out. It takes a really long time. You're scraping it almost nothing to get to somewhere that you don't even know, if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense. With a lot of creative positions like modeling, I always think that it's like, you don't get into that because you want to. You get into it and stay into it because you need to in some way. It's like,
yes,
you need to express
because we must.
Yeah, because you must. Yes, exactly. Not to discourage anyone from trying to get into it, because give it a shot. But I think
make some money, like I didn't think I'd do a fit job for Levi's for like their dentist jeans, but you never know where you're gonna go. So you don't know unless you try.
Of course. I'm always for pushing people towards trying new things, and even if you fail, then you have a pretty funny story. And that's okay.
Oh yeah. I failed a million times before I got one job.
And you're alive.
Yeah, you really appreciate those one jobs that you get. The extra job that I just got was so much fun, and no experience being an extra. So I was like, okay, this is pretty great. Didn't sound super exciting, but you're on set. There's a camera, there's a director, there's assistants, there's a makeup artist, and sometimes the makeup artist, and it's a good little reunion. It's very magical. You feel the buzz.
Yeah.
That's why you're there, because plus I got to like dance and like shoot off little poppers, and
that's great. Wonderful. That's so fun. I have 2 more questions in mind, and then third, I guess I have 3 more questions. Okay. One just popped in. I want to go briefly back to the situations that we were describing about uncomfortable moments on set. What's your advice for handling something like that? Is it telling your agent, or what could we do to help people who unfortunately are put in a bad position like that?
This is a really tricky subject because there's so many moving parts.
I don't think there's going to be a clear answer, by the way. I'm sorry. I was like, solve all of Hollywood's issues.
Let me just solve world peace right now. If it happened to me, if something really inappropriate happened, I would tell somebody, probably like a friend first, just to like calm myself down. I'd probably type up what happened, get away from said person. If you have to be in a scene or pose with them, it's going to be really uncomfortable because no one around you knows that anything happened. They don't feel the awkwardness or the anxiety that you're feeling. Oh, it's a hard question because there's so many situations.
But I think it is a general good rule to talk to a friend. I think at the baseline,
please talk about it,
fester in your heart and getting it off your chest in one way or another is a good thing. And then the steps will hopefully become clear from there.
You give the emotionality to one of your friends to like reassure you that this is valid. You want to listen to like something you went through, because it warns them and it helps them, because it's like, how are they going to know about it if you don't say anything?
Right.
So it is very tricky, because you don't want to just go straight to your agent because you're like, no, that didn't happen. And you just have to be really careful and look out for yourself. Take care of yourself first, because like jobs will come and go. If you have to like take a mental break, do it. Go on a vacation, take care of yourself, unplug. Don't worry about your pictures. Just know that it's not your fault. Don't blame yourself. Just because you're a model does not make it okay for other people to target you. You're not there for people's entertainment. You never know what anyone's going through. Just be respectful. You don't know if a successful model is really going through it because they get targeted every single day. You could look at them like, oh, they have a perfect life, and they're getting gigs and booked, but it's kind of like at what cost?
Right. That doesn't
Like,
necessarily mean happiness.
do they want to quit, or do they want to keep putting themselves through this? Because it's very unfortunate when someone targets someone and like takes a job that's supposed to be a once in a lifetime thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There seems to be some odd aspect of objectifying. You lose your humanity in the eyes of some people, which is bizarre. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
we're people.
right.
We have
Exactly.
feelings.
Right.
We're all going through it right now because it's still a pandemic, and like people need to make money, and it's like priorities, like money. They can't afford their rent right now. Do they really need to be harassed?
On top of that,
I don't think so.
yeah, right. The pandemic was a chance to drop a lot of things. Harassing
Yes.
people on set should have been one of
Oh
those
yeah.
things. In social settings, when people find out you're a model, I'd imagine people have said some awful things. I'm curious if you have any stories that you'd be willing to share. I'm happy to hear it. You don't have to. Otherwise, I'm curious how you handle situations in social settings.
Well, in social settings, it's usually positive things.
Oh, good. That's great.
I don't really have any stories about. I mean,
that's good. I would
there's
prefer
always,
that would be the case.
Yeah, there's always people who are like models who just want to party, and like there's so many different types of models. If you want to party, do like the model social thing and like socialize, network. That's amazing. But I'm a homebody right now. I don't drink because that used to give me a lot of anxiety, and it's not good for modeling. And so I kind of like removed myself from a lot of drama. I usually don't tell people I'm a model, especially since I'm getting into voiceover acting. So there's a lot of things that people project onto you that they think, like how they think models should be, or they're like, oh, you must have an amazing life. Have you worked for so and so yet? I'm like, yeah, totally. Yeah, I'll take the credit.
Right.
I'm a great actor. I'm a great model.
Yeah.
It's weird because I just see myself as someone who wants to convey a story correctly. It's become more about the narrative truth, I would say. If I'm doing my own photo shoot, what is this photo shoot going to turn into? What is this flower going to blossom into? Because usually you don't know until the photographer gives you the pictures. And then you come up with how you're going to sell this photo. What is the story? How is the image inspiring you? So that's mostly what I'm focused on at the moment. Having fun.
Well, good for you too for not feeling in different jobs, especially modeling is an unusual job. You may feel like you have to do the party scene or do this or that because otherwise I won't get booked or this or that. And that's great that you're like, nah, it's not for me. Do it if you want. It's really not. Yeah, good.
Sometimes I can feel the energy that people are projecting onto me, and body image, for one. People are expecting something from you to look a certain way is a huge source of anxiety. Oftentimes people don't really care that much. They're just like, oh, you did another picture. That's awesome. And it's just the insecurities are prevalent.
A constant battle, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
But let it go, because again, we're all human. We're all feeling things, and we're all doing our best right now, I should say.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else related to modeling or your anxiety or how things that have helped you with your anxiety that we haven't touched on that you think we should talk about?
Waiting for a booking is very stressful. And one of my friends told me, you have to go of pretty much 99% of all auditions you do. Because if you focus on every little audition you submit, you're going to drive yourself nuts. Because odds are you're not going to hear back. And I started looking at auditions like it's boot camp. You're learning, because it's only been like a year since I started voiceover. auditioning, and I'm still learning. I can still hear myself developing and getting more confident. So waiting for a booking is the most anxiety inducing thing ever. Because
Well, especially if you need the money, right?
yeah,
Rent's coming up.
yes, and very validating to book
Mhm.
something.
Of course.
And it's 100% rejection if you
Mhm.
don't hear back. And sometimes you just forget about it naturally. And sometimes you're like, well, I really wanted booking and I was very confident. You just have to be proud of yourself for just doing the audition,
Yeah.
just
And
for trying.
meditation has helped you with that
Oh,
anxiety as
yeah.
well. Yeah.
There's one thing that is kind of funny. Like, one piece of advice that I got from someone who I don't know personally, but Bob Odenkirk, I just heard him say on one of his shows, just throw it away, just throw away the line.
Mm-hmm.
That has gotten rid of a lot of my anxiety. When you're second guessing yourself while you're doing multiple takes, you tend to like over perfect yourself, and it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
sound good, doesn't sound genuine. So honestly, you have to be in the character and just throw it away sometimes.
Yeah.
Just be natural and
Yeah. And
meditate.
often the differences between takes, referring to voiceover, it may sound slightly different to you, but someone else listening to it is going to be like, yeah, that sounds the same. Right. Like,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you really judge
It's,
yourself
oh, yeah,
versus what somebody else is here.
yeah. You're micromanaging yourself on
Exactly.
something that a casting director is just probably going to spend, I don't know how long listening. They're going
Mm-hmm.
to be like, oh, this was great, but someone else could be better. Someone else could deserve it more. So
Yeah.
you really just have to keep trying, and
That's
who
great.
knows?
Well, it's I have to say it's very refreshing. You seem to be in a very good mental headspace to take on the challenges of the career that you've chosen or has chosen you.
Yes.
Seemingly, though, how you got into it.
Oh, I
So,
have one more thing to talk about.
oh, sure. Yeah, let's do it.
People who are in the fit industry, like they do clothing fittings for companies, we
Hmm.
have to now take pictures of ourselves in like pretty much underwear.
Hmm.
So I'd say that it has triggered so much anxiety and PTSD just setting up my lighting to
Mm.
like do one of those pictures, because you can't do a flattering angle. It's just straight on. And like I
Professional
haven't,
photographers are professional photographers for a reason, right? They know
yeah,
how to do the lighting and set up the shot.
yeah, but you have to be your own professional photographer these days. So
Hmm.
it's just most of the time it's just me
Hmm.
doing all these pictures. And one piece of advice I would have to recommend for anybody is to not look at the picture, send the picture to your agent because they need it. And they're going to be really happy. Just for your own personal mental safety, just don't look at the picture for a couple weeks. Let your eyes relax.
Mm.
Let the anxiety fade away before you look at the picture, because odds are it's going to be fine. It's going to look amazing. It's just your anxiety that's telling you that, oh my gosh, this is terrible.
Hmm.
Because it's uncomfortable taking pictures of yourself half naked. So
Yeah, I'm sure.
I
And
wouldn't wish
then,
it on any of my worst enemies. So,
well, then you're texting it out there, so it's like, where's that going? I mean, obviously, I'd imagine
yeah,
you trust
it's
your
just
agent.
internal for my
Yeah,
agent, but
yeah.
it is also liberating to just take a picture of yourself like that. Because the first time I did that, I was in a room of fellow models who were like more curvy, and we all looked like we were in a Dove commercial, and it was
Hmm.
beautiful.
Yeah,
So
that's great. Yeah,
yeah.
there's certainly a lot of power in doing what you're doing,
Yeah.
which is great. Yeah, and it certainly helps a lot of people to change the image that people see in magazines, TV, on and
Hmm.
on and on. So
Yeah. Body
that's
positivity.
yeah, exactly. We're all for that. We like that. Well, Amy, thank you so much for your time. This has been such a wonderful chat. I wish you all the best.
My
And
pleasure.
yeah, we look forward to seeing you and hearing you out in the wild.
Thank you so much. I had fun.
Yeah, I'm certain that modeling wouldn't be for me. It's too much spotlight. I like the spotlight. I do. I mean, I have 2 podcasts. I'm a complete ham, and I'm okay with that. But there's a bit of a barrier, right? Like, this is audio. I'm recording this on a Monday, and there's no one here. Not even Ollie the pup. I'm basically in my pajamas. Pajamas that probably should have been thrown out by now. There's a hole in my shorts. Well, thank you so much to Amy. Reminder about my other podcast, Death Space Filling the Void. Check that out wherever you get your podcasts. Also, the Buy Me a Coffee link. If you're liking the show and would like to support it and support me, feel free to buy me a coffee. And I'm honored that people spend their time, and if they choose to support it financially, that's incredible. So yeah, you can find that wherever you are listening in the description. There's also the link to Instacart. By signing up to that link, you're telling Instacart that this show sent you, which also helps support the show. And you can take advantage of getting some grocery items shipped right to your house or delivered right to your house. Also, My Software Tutor, there's a link in the description to that as well with the promo code POD20 to save 20% off. And the Cardist Studio with the promo code AnxietyPod for 10% off. Well, all right. I'm going to pretend as if it is actually St. Patrick's Day. Jamie and I are going downtown for a little meet up with some friends for some Guinness, and I'm hoping corned beef and cabbage because it's so good. Either that or I'll come home and make a baked potato. You think I'm kidding? I'm not. Well, slancha. I don't know if I said it right. I hope it is. I think that's how you say it. Slancha. SLAINTE. It's like cheers. Well, have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you next Thursday.